Okay. All right, and we are now recording. So thank you today for joining me on our overview of the flexible spending accounts that we offer through American Benefit Administrators. We are currently undergoing open enrollment with some organizations having already received their invitations to start making their elections. Other groups who have plans that are renewing outside of American Benefit Administrators for dental insurance, medical insurance, things of that nature, you will be waiting until those plans are ready to renew, and this will be kind of included in that same process. So before going into the plans a little bit deeper, I do want to show you a little bit of what you can expect to see with your enrollment process, just so you have an idea on navigating that system. So that's going to be your first step. So bear with me just a moment while I get that screen up for you. Okay, so this is an example of our open enrollment welcome screen. So once you've received your invitation, you'll log into your HRI employee portal. From that menu, if you on the left-hand side, you'll see a tab for benefits. When you select on that, a drop-down menu will be displayed with the very last option being for your benefit enrollments. Only those plans that are going to be available to you during the current open enrollment period are going to be displayed. So if it's open enrollment for your dental, your vision, and your flexible spending, you're not going to see the option to make a change to your health insurance. If you do need to make a change to your health insurance outside of this open enrollment period, life event, got married, had a baby, something like that, feel free to call me. We can kind of discuss the process and maybe open a special enrollment period for you. When navigating this portal, there are a couple tricks I like to recommend. First is I recommend following this next tab when navigating through the various plan options and prompts. This is to ensure that you don't miss anything. If you tend to just kind of click around here or navigate by just selecting your dental insurance, it's possible that you could miss a required field and have to go back and fix your selections. So I do again recommend by using these next options to navigate. When using the next option, depending on your screen settings, your screen size, resolution, some folks won't see necessarily all of the options available. You might have to click into this blank area of the page and scroll down a bit to see the option to waive benefits. So in this situation, if I had vision insurance and wanted to cancel that insurance, I would deselect the policy and select that I agree to waive the vision benefits moving forward into the January 2023 plan year. As we move forward into flexible spending accounts, and this is going to warn you if you make a change, don't be worried about that, just say yes. As you move forward through your flexible spending accounts and commuter benefits, the same options are going to be displayed. It's going to show you information for all the various plan types. You can make your annual contribution elections, click next until you get down to your benefit summary. Once you've completed all of your elections and you get to your summary, it is going to let you know if there's an error. If you see this in red, it means whatever election you had made did not save for whatever reason, and you will need to go back to that FSA tab or commuter tab to either enroll in the benefit or waive those benefits to be able to move forward. Once all plans have been enrolled or waived, you'll be able to submit your elections and sign off acknowledging that your elections are accurate and complete. When signing your elections, you do want to make sure your name is entered exactly as you see it in the top right-hand corner of your enrollment window. If it's not entered exactly as you have it, they're going to say you don't know your own name, you've got it wrong. Quite often it's because of a middle initial. So just kind of take a look at those. If you have questions, give me a call. I'm happy to help walk you through those processes. Moving on into the actual flexible spending accounts, we're going to do a high-level overview of the plan, kind of go into some details of what type of expenses qualify and answer any questions that folks may have regarding the plan options. So first off, what is a FSA? It's a flexible spending account. What it does is it provides you with the ability to set funds aside on a pre-tax basis to help cover any day-to-day expenses. So how much can you potentially save? It's variable. Folks that are in the higher income tax bracket will see a higher level of savings than though in the lower income tax brackets. It really just depends on your personal tax situation. In the example that you see here, you see someone that's in the federal tax bracket of about 15%. Dollar for dollar, you will save your federal taxes, Social Security and Medicare tax, and state taxes. So in this example, you'll see 15% for federal, 7.65 for Social Security and Medicare, and another roughly 7% for state taxes. All of that accounts for roughly 30% in potential tax savings. So if you contribute the $3,050 maximum that's allowed for the federal FSA this year, you could save almost $915 in taxes. There are 4 different account types available to staff through our FSA program. The medical FSA is split into 2 different buckets. We have our full medical FSA and our limited purpose FSA. Then we have dependent care, parking, and transit. With the medical FSA, these funds can be used to cover any out-of-pocket expenses you may have relating to your medical care. So that's going to be your co-pays, your deductibles, prescription costs. There's even some over-the-counter items that can qualify. I usually recommend if you're not quite sure what's going to qualify, go to the website. It's fsastore.com. They'll supply you with a list of various items that could qualify for expense reimbursement that you can use, especially if you're getting towards the end of the year where you have risk of lost funds. If you're not quite sure what you can purchase, definitely check that site out, create your shopping list, take it to your local store, and you'll know you'll be creating something that's going to be qualified. A limited purpose FSA is for an organization that has employees on health savings accounts. So if you're enrolled in a medical plan that qualifies for a health savings account and you're already maximizing your funds within that account to cover your medical expenses, you might want to set aside some additional funds to cover your dental expenses or your vision expenses. That's where a limited purpose FSA will come in. If you have an HSA and you're not yet maximizing your benefit there, I highly recommend maxing that account first before moving into the limited purpose account type. That's really limited. I usually don't recommend it unless you are maximizing your HSA first. If for some reason you're not sure if a limited purpose FSA will benefit you and you have questions, feel free to call me. I can look at your situation. We can look at your HSA, make sure that everything's a good fit before we get you enrolled in this limited purpose account. Funding for these accounts are actually available to you up front. It's a prepaid debit card. So if you elect $2,000 for the 2003 calendar year, you will have $2,000 available to you for spending on January 1st. You'll slowly pay that back on a pay period by pay period basis over the course of the year. Because of this, medical and limited purpose FSA accounts are locked in. So when you're making your elections, be sure that you're electing the amount that you're going to be able to spend for the year so you're not at any risk for loss. Dependent care FSAs allow you to set funds aside pre-tax to help cover your dependent care expenses. This covers children up until the age of 13, and right now the maximum savings amount is $5,000. And it can extend to disabled or elderly care, depending on the situation. I usually recommend having a conversation or consultation with someone at American Benefit Administrators before applying for this benefit if you're looking to use it for home health care for an elderly parent or maybe a disabled loved one, just to make sure that the care that's being provided doesn't truly count as a dependent care expense. Quite often there's medical care involved and that gets excluded. If you are in a married filing separate tax status, please be aware that your limits are halved. You're only eligible to contribute $2,500 into those accounts. Commuter benefits include parking and transit benefits under 2 separate buckets. So you're able to utilize the same ABA account to set funds aside for parking or transit or both. Some people will utilize both, especially in the DC metro area if they are driving to a metro lot and then taking the train into the city. In those situations, I usually recommend giving me a call so I can kind of walk through some unique situations to the DC metro system, especially since their parking lots and train all come through under the same expense code. They both come through as metro. So we like to kind of keep an eye on those just to make sure that they are being properly allocated to parking or transit, depending on your election. Funding for your dependent care, parking, and transit benefits are a bit different from the medical FSA. Where the medical FSA is given to you up front, the parking, transit, and dependent care accounts are only available to you as they have been funded through payroll. So if you elect for an account starting January 1st, and you're going to have, say, $100 come out each paycheck to go towards your parking, and your first paycheck is scheduled to process on January 15th, you will not see your first available funds in your parking or transit account until January 15th. So keep that in mind when you're making plans for your elections and your expenses moving forward. Before I go into any details on the IRS limits and regulations for 2023, does anyone have any questions or concerns about the type of expenses or funding and how it would work with the American Benefit Administrator's account? Okay, perfect.
Hey,
So
Elena.
yes,
I think there might be a question or two in the chat, in the Teams chat.
let me back out here and see if I can access the chat. I don't always see that while I'm
Um,
presenting.
I can read it off, no worries.
Thank
So
you.
Robin's asking, do you know if the dependent care FSA might ever increase above 5K like it did a couple years ago?
That is a very common question, and I do not blame you. That is the one area that we have not seen any real increases due to inflation. It's been 5,000 for years. They did do a temporary increase during COVID, just kind of testing the waters out. I was really hoping it would stick around, but I have not heard anything or seen anything to indicate that they're looking at making that a more common or permanent thing moving forward.
Awesome. I think that's the only one for now. If anyone wants to type their chats in there, I can always read them off, so feel free.
Tyler, thank you so much for keeping an eye on that.
Sure. Okay, we got another one from Ariane. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. We receive a transport subsidy. Does this impact the reimbursement we can get for transportation costs that are not covered?
Yes. So for organizations that have their own internal policies, I usually recommend maxing those out first. But if you have expenses that exceed what your employer is willing or able to contribute, that's when you could start utilizing this program to kind of offset the difference. So, perfect example, if you're given $100 a month to help offset a parking expense that you may have in the city, but maybe you've chosen a lot that's a little bit closer, or maybe the lot that they cover is full and you've had to use a different program and have an additional $25 a month in expense, you could utilize this ABA account to cover that additional $25. So definitely keep that in mind, utilize it if it's available to you or if you're in one of those situations.
Thank you. I think that's all we have for now.
All right. So for 2023 with the plans themselves have stayed relatively unchanged. We're not seeing any differences on the types of expenses that can be reimbursed. We're not seeing any differences on or regulations on prescriptions or out of pocket costs when it comes to medical care. Really, the only changes have been in regards to limits. So the medical FSA and the limited purpose FSA did see an increase to $3,050 for this year, with a rollover allowance now at $610. So that went up from 550 to 610. So that's actually one of the larger jumps that we've seen in the last couple years. Dependent care, again, has stayed at 5,000, and due to the limitations on age and the types of expenses that they allow, there is no rollover provision for that plan. So you definitely want to make sure that you have expensed or incurred that full $5,000 in expenses if you elect the full 5,000 by the end of the plan year. Parking in transit did see an increase as well. That's gone up to $300 for each account type. And it will also roll over up to $300 for each account type as well. So with rollovers, what that means is at the end of 2022, so December 31st, if you have $280 left in your parking account, you don't need to rush to try to spend that. That's going to automatically roll over as of January 1st and be available to you for expenses that you incur in 2023. So you'll have no need to worry about that. Utilizing another example, if you had, say, $500 in your parking account, $300 is automatically going to roll over into the 2023 plan year for you. Again, that's going to be available for you to use on 2023 plan expenses as of January 1st. The remaining $200 will remain in the 2022 plan year bucket. And you have what's called a 90-day run-out period to submit for any expenses that you incurred during 2022 to spend those remaining $200. So they won't let you incur new expenses after the close of the plan year, but you will have 90 days to submit for expense reimbursements. This is exceptionally important for the dependent care account. I see a lot of people who will wait until the end of the year to submit their expenses as one lump sum. It's also important in the regards to medical expenses. A number of folks will go to the doctors in December. They won't get the invoice for that visit until February. You're not out of any funds just because it took them a little while to send you that bill. You can still pay that out of pocket, submit your claim, and get reimbursed. You're not always going to be able to use your card for those 2022 plan year funds after the close of the year, but you will have access to them for reimbursement. The 90-day run-out period also applies not only to the end of the plan year, but your personal plan year. And what I mean by that is if you were to terminate employment middle of the year, say you enroll into an account for dependent care, you've put $1,000 into it, and come March, you leave and go to a new employer. That March date is going to be your plan year end date, and your 90-day run out period will start as of your last day of employment. So keep that in mind if you're planning a transition between employers to make sure that you're spending down anything that's in your account. Any questions or concerns about expenses or limits?
I think we might be all good here.
All right. So as I had mentioned earlier in the meeting, open enrollment is kind of rotating for our groups. We have had a number of enrollments already gone out. I think about 37 have gone out so far for organizations that do not have any other plans affiliated with a January renewal. But if you have dental plans renewing, medical plans renewing, we're still might be wrapping up some of the details on those, and you'll see everything come through as one inclusive file. So definitely keep an eye out for that. If you're afraid that you may have missed it, feel free to call me, pop me an email. I'm happy to check and make sure that a file has not gone out and that you have not missed something. My contact information here is on here if you need it. Same with Chris. He is the broker here at HRI. We can always help you have any questions or any concerns about the plans. If you need contact with ABA, definitely feel free to reach out to us. One thing I do want to share with you, though, before we end our meeting is a couple things with their portal here. I do see one question here about account spending. If you make an election, let's see, if I spend the entire amount I elected and leave before the plan year, do I have to reimburse the organization back? No. So just like there's a risk to you as an employee if you make an election that you're not able to spend, there is a risk of you losing those funds. An employer also has that same risk. So if you as an employee spend a little bit extra than what you've contributed, this mostly pertains to the medical account, and you leave before you've reimbursed that full amount, there is no risk to you. That's actually absorbed by the plan. So there's no risk to you if you leave early. Okay. So this, for anyone who has not registered, is the revamped ABA employee member portal. So they've tried to make it as easy as possible for folks to submit claims. You can send a payment to somebody if you need to, so you can actually do direct payments here. So if you don't have your card or if you can't use your card for any reason to pay for a medical bill, you can actually schedule that payment directly here. You can set up reimbursements for yourself and manage your expenses. This is the most important when it comes to dependent care. Quite often, you have to submit an affidavit form if you're not going to do weekly receipts that shows, yes, I do have a qualified dependent. Yes, they are going to a qualified provider. Here's their federal tax ID number. Once you've put that in place, the claim process is very easy. They also have details on that FSA store here. It's a great shopping resource. They quite literally break down everything available to you from sunscreen to allergy medication. Pretty much anything that's on that IRS list, it's going to be there. Once you have registered for a member portal account, I highly recommend the ABA app. The app for your smartphone actually makes claim submission very, very easy. If you are purchasing something that does require you to submit a receipt for substantiation, you can take a picture of it with your phone, directly upload it. Claims are typically filed within about 48 hours. And if you're set up for direct deposit, it's within your account within the next 24 hours. Just to kind of give you an example, I have a daycare account myself. I will submit expenses on Mondays, and typically by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest, as long as I remember to update my receipt, those funds are in my account. So the turnaround time is pretty quick on those. And being able to use my phone to take a picture of my receipt makes it really, really easy. So moving forward, a couple things I want to point out to folks with our website and also with some of our new partners. So in navigating to the employee portal, I know a lot of folks have utilized saved URLs that maybe get them directly to their employee login. While these are helpful, when we have updates, those sometimes become corrupted or might have small changes. I'd usually recommend coming to our main website, just the hri-online.com site, going to log in, and selecting employee portal. This is guaranteed to get you a good URL, and it tends to cause fewer issues with folks having corrupted logins or blocked accounts because it's not saving those cookies and that cache data that sometimes will conflict when you're trying to log in. So just something to keep in mind when creating your logins. Here in our resources tab, we have two things that I like to point out to folks. We have our media library. This actually takes you to a resource page that has some training videos. The employee portal video is wonderful. We've been adding videos to that constantly. We have things from how to download your pay stubs and your W-2s to how to go in and update your address, tax elections. So if you're ever on a weekend and realizing you need to make some updates and you're not quite sure exactly where to go, feel free to come here, click on that channel playlist, and view the navigations to kind of get an idea on where you might need to go. If that does not answer your question, you can always call us and we're happy to help you. Touching on some of our partnerships, that's also here in our resources tab under partnerships. We have a number of items that you as employees and partners of HRI can utilize. So we have pet insurance through Pet Benefit Administrators or Pet Assure. They actually have a really cool program at pretty decent pricing. So for a single pet, it's $11.75 per month. If you have a family, and this could be 2 pets, it could be 10 pets. I have someone who does fostering who has a pet family program, and it covers all of their fosters, even though they're only at the house for 2-3 months. It really is a decent program. It's a 20% discount for any services. So that's your routine visits, your vaccines. It's also your sick visits. The only thing is you do have to go to a participating provider to access that discount. And they do have a search page to find a participating doctor. You can also submit to have your vet added to their program, and they will reach out to see if your vet would like to be added for participation. They also have a discount pet and prescription product. The savings here are pretty decent. I've compared it to like 1-800 Pet Meds, to some other discount programs, and they're on par, sometimes a little bit cheaper. Their toys actually are pretty inexpensive compared to other sites that I've looked at. You get this automatically under this program, and you also get discounts on prescriptions. So if you go to the vet, they give you preventative prescription, or even if your dog needs an antibiotic, quite often those antibiotics are the same things human beings will take. So you can take those to a CVS and get anywhere from 20 to 40% off your prescription costs over what you would be paying at your vet's office. So definitely something to kind of keep in mind. In addition to our partnerships, we actually have a new partner that just came on with us a couple months ago. We've got Norton LifeLock. So you've got two different plan options, the Benefit Essential Plan or the Benefit Premier Plan. Both of them are actually very affordable. Depending on if you're adding family members or if you're enrolling just yourself, most people are finding these to be between $5 and $10 a month. So there's some pretty substantial savings over what you'd be paying for something out of pocket if you were trying to enroll personally. They also have the ability for you to roll over an existing membership. So if you are already a partner with Norton LifeLock and you're already utilizing one of these programs, you can either upgrade and transfer it over and get those cost savings, or if necessary, you can also close your old account, open a new one, and they'll help you with like relinking everything so you don't have to kind of start fresh. Moving on into our partners, we also have Working Advantage. And as much as I hate to say it, you go to Working Advantage now and you see a lot of details on Christmas and the holidays. It is that time of year. Go ahead and take advantage of these discounts. They've got everything from, as you can see here, discounts for theater shows. You can go see Hamilton if you want to. Theme parks and attractions. If you're going to Disneyland, if you're out in California, you can check that out. The thing I absolutely love about this is they have hotels, rental cars, travel, kind of helping with travel expenses. But if you're going to travel for like a business trip and you're going to Cleveland, Ohio for a weekend and you want to look at something to do, come here to choose a city, select Cleveland, Ohio, and it's going to show you everything specific to that area. So if you want to, go out to dinner or see Jurassic Quest, there you go. You can go out there and have fun for a couple hours in between meetings. So definitely something to kind of think about, take advantage of if you're in the area. This does require a registration code that's on your benefits package in your employee portal. So if you're looking to register and you haven't yet, definitely pull a copy of your benefit package on the very last page. It's going to have the access code to create an account here, or you can call us. We can get you that account information at any time. Any questions for me? I know I've just thrown a whole lot at all of you.
Start over or do it again.
I'm happy to. We'll give you a private tour. No, I will have this recording posted to that same resource tab that I was pointing out where the videos are. It takes you to a dedicated YouTube channel that we have. So this will be loaded to that YouTube channel within a couple days. Any other questions? Well, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I know everybody's been pretty busy, and I know a lot of folks are trying to get off early to kind of get in line for voting today. So hopefully I didn't hold you up too long. Enjoy the rest of your week. Call me at any time if you have any questions. Otherwise, I look forward to working with all of you, and hopefully the FSA fits your needs moving forward into 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Lana.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.